Chapter 20. Dealing with the Deceiver. If God appeared, then the first question I might ask would be, why does evil exist? Wouldn't God know it's best to overcome wickedness and replace it with peace? And instead of getting a meeting with God, the only meeting I could get scheduled was with the Deceiver, and so I had to be on my best behavior. The Deceiver's persuasion leads one to believe that if you work for him, you'll be in service of the true Savior. But how would evil disguise oneself? And should such forces of evil be destroyed in a great battle? The only way to know was to find out for ourselves, if we confront him. And so Nandi, Shruti, Kundalini and I went off to face the Deceiver. Deep in the city, the spiritual sun was cut off by the shadows of the many high-rise towers. Oh, how the Deceiver concealed the light from these people in many different manners. When we reached the gate to the Deceiver's tower, the lobby was filled with security, and they triple-checked their cameras, AI, before their systems took pictures of me. The Deceiver's tower was protected and respected as the pinnacle of modern-day authority. But to me, in that moment, I wondered if this was the compound of the enemy. The Deceiver kept us divided, distracted, and separated from one another. Isn't that what evil is? It creates barriers and boundaries, because it seems the Deceiver fuels his investments on sources of upheaval. There in the very center of the city, we took the elevator up to the top room, where we arrived in the highest suite connected into the grand ballroom. Pictures of faces covered the circular room on all sides, when I realized how the Deceiver's room was his own personal shrine. Not quite a mugshot, but the walls of this room held pictorial reflections of all the people who the Deceiver sought control over. And why, they'd just taken my picture. Oh Lord, I'm sure someone in the lobby printed off my face, but even if they hung it up, I was of such little importance, there couldn't have been a place for it here. Then in the very center was a shrine dedicated to him. Why, under all of these faces, I saw a golden statue of his own body under piles of money. He worshipped only himself, but who were all these faces pinned up as if they were watching?
You know I'm a wizard now. It's hard to explain. Bad things happen when I'm extremely upset. Don't make me upset,
said the Deceiver. Hello, and I met someone who said you wanted to see me. But what are you talking about?
I am carrying a massive cross for many people. There are even a lot of people upset that I continue to take on the burden of the church. I have no problem with women pastors or the gays. I am being crucified for taking these views. In the midst of all of this pain, I have memories of being transferred and illuminated by God's authority throughout my body and brain,
said the Deceiver. He was obsessed with himself, and something in his head was sick. His brain had turned against his soul, and when I looked in his heart, I could not even see the light within him. Was it covered, or had the flame gone out? All around us were the Deceiver's guards to uphold his unjust power. Then the Deceiver bragged about himself as if he was alone in the center of the world. Why do you do this?
They are out to get me, and so I'm going to get them. They've got an army against me, and so I've got an army ready to destroy everyone. I'll sue anyone. Everyone better listen to me. I am him, God made flesh, and so they will obey their king. Whenever I have a bad day, I am capable of making everyone else around me feel 10 times the pain,
said the Deceiver, pointing. When I looked closer at all the guards, I realized they were made of stuffing. These armored guards were stuffed with pillows, as if they were an illusion of his protection.
I am a wizard, and they are trying to take me down. I will not let anyone spread false news around in my town. No one will burn my empire to the ground,
said the deceiver. All around were those portraits of faces, and so few were people I recognized. Why, the biggest portrait of them all was in the center, the deceiver's face. Then beside him were the world presidents, dictators, kings and queens from all countries. Below them appeared to be the world's great performers, stars, celebrities, and the most successful businesswomen and men. But some had some red X's over them. Beneath all that, there was a strange group of comedians. Why, I recognized them. All the comedians had stitches sewn into their skin. What had happened that made these people of the deceiver's interest? I have a question. You said that your own action can cause great devastation. Then why wouldn't you do something about your anger? If you are a good and moral person, you wouldn't want to put anyone in danger. We must ask ourselves, are we aligned with the forces of good or evil? Imagine what could happen if we all changed for the better. Imagine all the good we could do for our world.
It's not about that. It's about my power. I command tragedies across the earth because look at my empire. Look at my wall. They all report to me. And the moment they mock me, I release them and cancel their identities. The moment they look me in the eye, they have made an agreement with me. And in turn, they work to give me the power, control, and money. I own this city, and I've got an army. If you want to know power, then put out your measly spiritual light and come work on my behalf. Do it for me, as I am the ruler of humanity. Only I can protect you, because I am in charge of the world's greatest army,
said the deceiver. But the light of God is the way. It is the truth and the generative force of all life. The spirit within all beings is the true self, arising from the source of creation, and I will not forsake God's pure light.
Then when the next disaster occurs upon the earth, I will make sure our soldiers and citizens know you did it, as it is you whom they should fear. I will tell them it is all your fault for all the world's terrors. They will consume my propaganda and gossip will spread from ear to ear. I will not let my followers get near any such spiritual light, for I have millions and billions who worship me upon this earth, and there are terrible people against us. I will not let them destroy me. Now are you with me, or are you against me? Choose wisely,
said the deceiver. What do you mean?
Do you want to make a deal? I'll give you a chance at making endless money and a path to power. All you have to do is sell me your soul, like all these people on my wall, said the deceiver. With the awareness beneath our body, it was our spirit that observed the deceiver's motive. It was clear he could not be trusted. What do you want our soul for? What are you going to do with it? I'll use it for an investment. I'm going to implement AI, and then I'll control it with artificial intelligence across the world. I'm going to use AI to control the masses and manipulate the population across the earth because I know best. I will instruct everyone and tell them how they will respect me and how they will live. In this way, I will be responsible for all that happens, and so I'm going to use AI so everyone follows my wishes, said the deceiver.
Well, what do we do? I whispered to Shruti within.
See what happens when you give him love,
whispered Shruti. So I went on to explain that I wasn't against him, and I told him I wanted to help him. I told him I could not sell my soul, but rather we can help all beings face their troubles. A spiritual fire engulfed our awareness when this eternal flame spread, as the deceiver felt a light within start to burn. This sensation horrified the deceiver, as it exposed all his past behaviors. The light came out to purify him, but it arose in a way the deceiver never expected. He'd been obsessed with the darkness and forgot the feeling of love, since anger, lies, and slander all narrowed his mind's projections. With the fire in me, I began to spread the light as it came alive, to incinerate his demonic tendencies. And so what would become of good and evil if we were no longer enemies? My brother, I wish to release you from all wickedness. Now his wicked spirit began to shout.
"I'm going blind! I'm blind!"
screamed the Deceiver. The Deceiver pushed me away and called the real guards to put out the spiritual fire. Once they came in, they threw a blanket over me when it went dark, as he sighed while the smell of smoke lingered. Deep in his eyes, the Deceiver got a glimpse of his hidden suffering. The Deceiver's expression was broken, and now layer after layer of his dark attributes began cracking.
"I know you tried to fuck my friend,"
said the Deceiver. "What are you talking about?"
"You tried to have sex with a guy I know. Jesus, man,"
said the Deceiver. Once I gave him light, he seemed to despise all aspects of my life.
"Did you ever notice how good my hair looks? It's getting longer and better than before. Most everyone I know is going bald, except for one good friend, and he might even be the greatest friend,"
he said. "But you don't have any friends," I thought.
"Eventually, you will die. That's the nature of time. The light must go out, and in time, all things wither, and soon you will find,"
said the Deceiver. When it comes to change, our bodily form may perish, but the spiritual light does not. What we are in truth is a spiritual being, much like an eternal flame, for this is the light of God.
"God has abandoned us. Look around. This is the world ruled by sin and suffering. If you don't sell your light to me, then it will be taken from you, or I will extinguish it. If you don't sell out, you'll lose everything,"
said the Deceiver. Now he armored himself with steel gates and protection, so I could not get near him. And so grew his suspicion, even though I had no weapons. Oh, his life was crazy. Surely God was outside of time, but our bodies were within time, and I had not ever known such a delusional liar in person. "I'll be leaving now,"
"You're going to sell me your soul,"
the Deceiver screamed. Right when I least expected it, the Deceiver pushed a button when a guard shot an arrow as it hit us in the hip. Blood and anger poured out, while a wrathful track of blood stained the ground, as it was obvious who did it. The more our light would shine, then more the Deceiver's aggression would persist. Oh, what was this? A battle? Should I attack evil, or just let it dominate the world with its wicked motives and selfishness?
We are not here to use power to control someone. But what would happen if you found a way to open your heart and love them?
Said Shruti. But he shot our body. He shot Nandi. His aggression brings forth more suffering into existence, and who's going to stop his army? If someone doesn't put an end to him, then his violence poses an even greater threat to the innocent.
Only the Deceiver can decide to change himself for the better. He must learn on his own to break out of the patterns that are negative and habitual. But if he doesn't, it only leads to a never-ending expansion of evil. On the other hand, we too have our own choice, and if you trust me, I will lead us to bring forth the great and ancient Naga's shape-shifting ritual,
said Shruti. Nandi smiled, but I was so upset that our body had gotten shot. You see, our soul was aboard the yak with Shruti and Kundalini, while our awareness was connected inside. But Nandi grunted with glory as he kept showing off. When Nandi felt pain, he seemed to smile as if nothing could faze him. He found a way to have fun with all of this as Nandi winked, then raised his eyebrow.
"I know which ritual she's talking about. I reckon I've heard about it before. And the last time this happened, well..."
Nandi paused. "Well, what?"
"It put an end to the last great war,"
said Nandi. "What do you mean?"
"Look, if we want to spread truth, light, and spiritual wisdom, or reveal insights, then it is our birthright to do whatever it takes,"
said Nandi.
"All right, enough fucking around,"
screamed the Deceiver. We froze.
"You've got two options, because I haven't got time for you. Don't you see it? I'm about to become president of the world, and I've got things to do. I move the earth, and I wreak havoc on anyone who criticizes my devastation. Everything that happens is based upon my personal mood and feelings. If you get me pissed, then I'll throw tornadoes and cyclones upon the cities as my misfortune follows,"
said the Deceiver. I raised my finger because someone had to get him to stop. Do you ever wonder if the rooster also thinks that his morning call summons the sun to cross the sky? Does that rooster say, "It's all because of me that the light of our world comes to rise"?
All the roosters are mine, and I make them wake up my workers each morning. I make the sun and earth move. I am the great one. But you must make one of two choices. Either sell me your soul or get thrown into the abyss. Now when it comes to the abyss, some say there is a treasure, but I've never found it. And if you come across it, then I'll make you give it up. Now are you ready to search for it? Down in the abyss, it's just dark, lonely, and cold. That's why it's the abyss. So if you're not willing to trade your soul, then I'll make you dig until you're old,
said the deceiver.
He's a liar. It leads to the end of the labyrinth,
whispered Shruti. What happens if I sell you my soul?
Like I said, I'll give you an opportunity to work for money, and from that, you could either spend it or use it to grow. I could even give you credit for more, depending on your soul, and you can start your own empire or business venture. I'll give you the capital, and you can use it to generate wealth and build a fortune. Oh, I know a guy who can work with you who is good at predicting the future. He'll tell you when to enter into the market. The game is about compounding your investments until your affluence is worth billions. We're not talking about millions. And when you have that much money, you're not just living your life, but you're controlling the lives of millions,
said the deceiver. So I can either sell you my soul or enter into the abyss.
The abyss is a death pit, and I've never seen anyone survive it,
said the deceiver. Well, after a few breaths, which only took about 4 seconds, the deceiver got upset with the silence and went off in a radical shift. His voice was cruel and he began to slander everyone who was underneath him. He mocked some of his closest associates as he continued to mock his own staff with insults. He made fun of people who were bald, or large, or old, or kind, and then he would brag about his powers.
Do you realize I am a wizard?
Said the deceiver.
But not the good one,
whispered Shruti.
Arrogance is a sign that someone's soul has fallen. Anyone against immigrants, the innocent, and the poor in spirit has lost a vital connection to our greater spirit. We cannot abandon anyone. We should find ways to feed those who are hungry. The soul is measured by our impact, so let us be brave and help many. The goal of life is not about how much prosperity one has or how much money one will make. In this world, no one can escape the nature of time, and this is something that even the deceiver is bound by. It's the wheel of cause and effect. Our world is that of impermanence. Floating in confused space, the deceiver does not realize his actions trap his own self in a sea of suffering,
said Shruti.
So what will it be? How about we make a deal? Because if you don't act soon, then I'm going to put a tariff upon all businesses you do. Then any trade you try to ask for won't be free. You'll really wish you had made a deal with me. You don't want me to get angry, said the deceiver.
He raised his eyebrows and stared at me.
Sell me your soul, or go into the never-ending abyss of death,
screamed the deceiver. I'm not selling you my soul.
Oh, you're trying to be bold? Come here,
said the deceiver as he pushed us into the elevator from the highest penthouse. A moment later, the door shut as we descended to the bottommost floor. The lower we went, the more the deceiver's anger fumed. The room had gotten so hot that I began to wonder why I was here and what I set out to do. So what is a kind soul to do? I didn't know what to think as I headed down in his elevator of doom. Where does this lead?
You're going under the basement. It's my abandoned mind. I used to send slaves in search of precious metals, gems, and diamonds, but there's only coal and granite, although I will get you if there's treasure to find,
said the deceiver. The floors counted down while we sped faster to the ground, but as I stalled, there was no longer any light outside of the glass panels. This was a deep tunnel, but what was I to do? Then the elevator stopped when a cold, musky chill poured in as the doors opened into a dark cabin.
"Now or never,"
he said. After I paused, he pushed me out of the elevator when I saw there was no button to press here. This was an exit, not an entrance.
"Okay, so you have one last chance, and I'll make you a sweet deal. You know, one of my friends just built a luxury plane, a $400 million plane, and I'll let you take a ride in it if you sell me your soul. How does that sound?"
said the Deceiver. Where does this lead?
"Oh, it'll take you to hell. Not many want to visit hell, you know. They say that's where Christ went after he died. They say Christ descended into hell for 3 days after he was crucified,"
he said. And why would Christ go there?
"Good question. Only a sucker would dare,"
said the Deceiver.
One must find the courage to break the spell of ignorance, and I believe that we are always being guided. No matter how treacherous, God is with us,
said Shruti.
"All right, well, you're an idiot. The deal's off the table, and we'll see how you do in the cavern's darkness. I'll come back in a few days and see if you're willing to negotiate for a lower credit. I'll get you down to about 35% interest with a loan, because within a couple days, you're going deep in debt. No one has ever survived this cavern. You'll never get free,"
said the Deceiver. He closed the door and the elevator went away. It was pitch black when the Deceiver was too far to hear anything else I had to say.
Jesus made it out, so there is a chance. Come on, it'll get easier after we take the first few steps,
said Shruti. You're saying this is it? But we cannot dare enter into the Deceiver's maze.
It's not a maze, it's a labyrinth. There's no way to get a Deceiver like that to listen. He alone can relieve his own pain, which stems from his own terrible burden. We too have a choice of our own, so let us work to relieve our world's suffering. We can live with our world and exist in harmonious union. Let our life become a ritual into the heart of fruition,
said Shruti. With a glance at Nandi, he nodded before I could say a word. I pulled the arrow out from our side as he began walking forward.
"Wherever you go, I will follow,"
said Nandi. He pushed us ahead, but the deeper we went, the more pressure we felt from the cavern walls. The darkness seemed to drain my brain, and I'd need a couple 100 years of sleep because the lethargy and fatigue pinned us when we had to crawl. Why? I begged.
Fruition requires we detach from all illusions. Leave the Deceiver to deal with his own demons. We have done more than enough to try to help him. It may feel heavy now, but this isn't the Deceiver's maze. It's the Creator's labyrinth. There is an end to the illusion, and some know her as Mahamaya,
said Shruti. What's the difference between a maze and a labyrinth?
If it were a maze, we could get lost. But since it's really a labyrinth, the only thing that matters is that we go forward, one step after the other. We just have to keep taking action, and in time, we will find our treasure,
she said. It may have taken hours before the cavern expanded again, where we could stand up on our feet.
"You know, I have a mantra I tell myself too,"
said Nandi. Oh yeah? What's that?
"Till death, then repeat,"
said Nandi.
Let us take to the great labyrinth and descend. Only through this will we get to the bottom of time. We are going the right way, and in the end, dignity is what we will come to find,
said Shruti. But why would we want to get to the bottom of time? Now it was Nandi who rose up from under us. This great force carried us when his power lifted our own burden. Seated upon the great guardian, he took control when we had no strength to move. There he carried us ahead into what felt like an empty tunnel. There was no visible light within my life at that moment, but there were a few who were with me, and they were filled with potential.
Oh, what will we do with this wondrous life of ours?
Said Shruti. Nandi carried our weary soul as we listened to the hooves upon his feet.
Arise, awake, stop not until the goal is reached,
said Shruti.